Jennifer Carrasco, Virago Skincare.
What's up?
Yeah. So Jennifer, we met through the Arte Syndicate.
Yes, we did.
Which is a badass. I don't even know how you would describe it. It's sort of like a coaching program in a way. It's also kind of like an accelerator. It's a really powerful network of entrepreneurs, and we are all, I should say, maybe coached or led by two really awesome people, Andy Frisella and Ed Milet, which is kind of crazy to say.
It is insane to say.
Yeah. Kind of like gives me the chills thinking about it. like 2 days ago, I'm like on a Zoom call with Ed Milet. Anyway, so it's wonderful to have you here. If you're wondering what Arte stands for, it stands for excellence, just to keep it short. And the whole program is dedicated to like helping you be excellent in every aspect of your life. And
yes.
It just spoke to me. Like I started getting those ads for it. I'm like, oh man, I have to apply to be in this thing.
So I have to tell you a story, and this is totally off subject.
It's all right.
So I'm a first Phorm Legionnaire athlete, and I've been an athlete with them for probably 6 years. So I know Emily personally. And so Kevin, my other half, said, hey, there's this Arte event going on. I really want you to come. Let's go to St. Louis. And I was so stoked because I thought, well, I get to see Emily. So let's go. So
and for those of you who don't know, First Phorm is a very successful supplements company.
Exactly.
And Andy Frisella, who founded the Arte Syndicate, is the guy who also started First Phorm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And his wife is Emily.
Yes.
And so I called Emily and I said, hey, I'm going to be in St. Louis for the Arte event. Let's do dinner. She's like, hell yes. So we went out to dinner. Then I went back and hung out at First Phorm for a little bit. And then the next day we went to the Arte live event. And my first reaction to Kevin was, you just took me to a flipping cult. Like, what am I doing? Right?
It's funny because you were involved in First Phorm already.
Yeah.
And then Kevin takes you to an art. So is he already involved with?
No, he was totally for it. But he didn't realize when we first started dating, he was like, you have to check out this podcast. It's the greatest podcast. He put it on. And I started laughing. And so I called Emily. And then his jaw just like dropped, like, you fucking know them?
Oh, that's funny.
Right? And I'm like, yeah. And so it was funny. So I went to the event, and then I was sitting there and I was listening to it all, and I thought to myself, you know what? I have to sign up for this at the end. And so I signed up for it, and lo and behold, I got accepted to the second year of the syndicate. And it was awesome because I saw like Ryan Stewman on stage, and I saw all these people on stage, and I'm like, they're totally badass. Well, I'm like actually doing work with Ryan Stewman now.
Right. Wow.
So
right.
it's, it's like I'm in that coaching realm with them.
Yeah.
And it's so to sit back and watch how I've grown just because of the Arte.
That's like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Because Arte is only on like year 4
yeah.
of being a thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I signed up for the second year of Arte. And then now it's, it's just the syndicate. But
right. Or it's one group. There used to be two.
Exactly.
There used to be two like levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's just one. So that's a really great story, actually. It's really funny.
Yeah, but I would not be where I am right now.
Right.
If it wasn't for everything in life that happens for a reason, right?
Yeah.
I'm a first Phorm Legionnaire. I know Emily. Then it got to this, and it's just it evolves. Like everything evolves in life for a reason. That's why I always tell people,
snowball effect.
You have to trust your instincts. Like you just have. That's whether it be God, whatever you think it is. That's what you have to trust, because that is what's creating your life.
Yeah, it's like the invisible thing that feeds back always, but so long as you put it out first.
Amen.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And I know a lot of what you talk about a lot philosophically is like owning your results. And I think that you're a really good person to explain that, or at least, be an example of that. And so, let's talk about just shift back to like what you're doing. I mean, you're here locally, like Roseville, right? And you have a couple skincare studios.
I do.
And a skincare line. So why don't you just like at least hit on what your skincare studios are, maybe how that came about, and then how the skincare line came about?
Absolutely. So I knew from a little girl exactly what I wanted to do. I was always into beauty. I was definitely your tomboy, but I was totally into beauty, into skin, into hair, into everything. So I kind of had that realm of where I wanted to go as a little girl. And so I started beauty school literally right after I graduated.
Got it.
And the day that I found out I was pregnant was the first day that I actually started beauty school. And so that definitely kicked my butt into gear to get my shit together.
Yeah, like here's all of life
Oh,
all
yeah.
at the same
Right?
time.
So I just followed my instincts through life, and I started working at a skincare studio. And, long story short, I didn't have the best being with my son as a single mom. It was definitely hard. I had parents that were fabulous that would definitely help me, but I never wanted to ask for help. So I would literally work 7 days a week, cleaning houses, doing whatever I had to do to provide for my son.
Yeah.
And so I worked in this clinic, which everybody told me not to take the job because the owner was European and a complete hard ass. But I trusted myself, and I just thought, you know what, this is the right thing to do. I know that inside. So I did take it. And her and I got along extremely well. And that was my realm of starting the skincare. So I literally learned from a European lady about skincare.
Right. Working for her.
Exactly. Yeah. So 4 years of working with her, she was extremely hard on me, but I learned a lot, and I learned a lot of structure. I learned, everything you can ask for skincare. If I had to pay for the education I got, it would have been a lot of money. And so I was very blessed in that aspect.
You learned from a master, not a school.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so at age 24, she actually offered me the business in the building. She wanted to retire.
Very, very nice.
Yes.
Wow. Let me teach you, young grasshopper, and then when you've proven that you've got the skills, I'm going to surprise you with a really beautiful piece of payoff.
Absolutely.
That's really awesome.
So at age 24, I qualified for an SBA loan for about $1 million and purchased a building and a business, and that's how it started.
Was that Virago, or was that the
That
other
was
one?
Not. It was called Rosina's European Skincare.
Oh, so you just inherited the name and everything with it.
Yes. And so my DBA is still that to this day. I just changed it because as I've grown and expanded, she's actually still around, and she has a clinic actually in LA. And so I wanted to open up a second studio, so I decided to change my name. And Virago stands for Brave Warlike Woman.
That's badass.
So when I was competing, I actually started a clothing line, which really it never turned into fruition, but I like that name. And so I changed that. And so my studios are called Virago.studio. And that's pretty much, it's Virago Skin and Body Studios.
Right.
And basically it's all your skincare needs, but it's different. It's not your average, going in and getting a pampering facial. It's it's pre-med. So it's, I do a lot of peels. I do, a lot of things to change the skin without actually having to go and get the Botox and the injections or the laser or the plastic surgery.
Interesting.
It's all the pre. And so I try to teach people that we should keep up on our skin as we're younger and as we age, because the difference, there's a huge difference. And take care of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people just think, oh, I'm just going to, excuse my language, go to shit, and then I'm just going to go get a facelift or get some laser done. And it's actually coming out that some of that stuff is actually really harmful for the skin. It causes inflammation. And
they go and they do something really extreme.
Exactly. And then you look fake.
Yeah.
So you want to grow gracefully. I'm going to fight age tooth and nail. So I'm going to be 42 in June, and I think I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, everybody's going to be wanting to fight age, whether it's look, you could be 75 years old and decide, oh, I'm going to start exercising because you know what? I'm not going to have the end of my life be, a miserable existence.
Amen. Amen to that.
So it's I don't know. I want to say it's never too late in a way.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
You can start anytime. Anytime. And that's definitely what I preach. A lot of my clients, you know, they come in with skin disorders or something like that going on with their skin, like acne. Well, it all realms to your inside. It all realms to actually what you're doing, what you're eating. Maybe, you know, you have some gut bugs or, you know, for instance, like people that get psoriasis or eczema, things like that. It actually is triggered to a lot of what's happening internally.
Interesting.
And when you can start to help that aspect, it's amazing how you can actually see the difference in their skin.
It's like, let's like not necessarily treat your skin first, but treat your diet first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, and we have like all sorts of different like experts on this show, you know, whatever, you know, coaches, whatever, people who sell things on Amazon, you know, and it's like almost always there's this underlying fundamental, you know, things that you got to get right in order to really actually have the specifically good end result.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so so you've had your new, at least under the new name, your skincare studios for how long now?
So I've been doing skincare for almost 21 years. I have owned the company now, I want to say 18 years. I revamped the company name, and it's been about 3 years now with that. And so I did have a skincare line with that, basically mainly for women. But as my company has grown, I've noticed a huge increase and influx of men coming in and actually getting procedures done and treatments done.
Is there like a common issue that men have with their skin?
They just don't want to age. And it's funny is they don't want to talk about it, because they feel like it's more feminine, and men don't do that. And a lot of men do now.
Are they worried about wrinkles?
Very much so.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes, very much so. I actually do a lot of online consultations, and specifically they're men, because they don't feel comfortable coming into the clinic.
Right. That makes sense.
And so when
it's like how like going into a hair salon or something. It's just like it just feels off.
Yeah.
It's not something you've been doing ever.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's funny, when I joined the Arte, you know, they're basically men. So I think there was only, maybe 10 or 11 women in the syndicate.
Yeah.
And the number one question I got was basically from men was skincare and what they can do. And they felt comfortable talking to me.
Right.
And so with building my skincare line, that was the basis of building it, was around men.
Right.
And so I formulated a basic product and protocol for men to follow that's super basic, because honestly, you know, there's a lot of BS out there about what we should be doing to our skin.
Yeah. It's like, don't overwash. Like, make sure to moisturize. Like, I mean, I'm just literally repeating things I've heard, whether they're right or wrong. It's like, there's so much out there.
There's so much. And it's garbage.
I would imagine. I mean, you walk into you could even just walk into like a Target, and they have a whole aisle filled with products. And it's like, whether it's hair, skin, whatever. And it's like, damn, like there's industry here.
It's marketing. It's big money. It's huge money.
Yeah. So like basic in a nutshell, like what's the general basic way to take care of your skin? Like not like somebody who doesn't wear makeup.
Yeah. So say if you have somebody and they have normal skin, they don't really have any issues with their skin whatsoever. Basically you should be using a cleanser, a balancer to pH balance yourself, a sunscreen, and then an anti-aging serum at night. That's it.
So gently clean your skin.
Absolutely.
And then protect it from the sun.
Exactly.
And then what do you say about at nighttime?
I always say a serum at night. So it depends. A serum, the molecule's small enough so it will penetrate the cells of your skin. But there's different serums out there. So it really depends on, you know, what's bothering you with your skin. But there's so much science back now. I personally think everybody should at least be on a vitamin C. Vitamin C is huge. But you don't have to be on a slew of products.
It's like a topical vitamin C?
It's a topical vitamin C.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And it's the same thing. You think of you're taking supplements for your body. It's the same thing for your skin, but you need to make sure that you're actually going to do something that's going to penetrate the skin.
Right.
So a lot of people think, okay, we're going to use a moisturizer because everybody uses a moisturizer, and that's what we've been taught since we were little kids. Well, actually, moisturizers are actually damaging for your skin. And a lot of people don't know that.
In like what way? Like, so it's like over moisturizes, so then your skin doesn't know how to naturally do it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So your cells talk to each other. So underneath all the layers of your skin, you have baby stem cells, fibroblasts, everything that's producing underneath the skin. And a lot of times when you're putting a moisture on the surface of your skin, your cells are talking to each other and they're saying, oh, we're moisturized, we're good, we don't need you to work. And then those stem cells go to sleep. So they're not working properly.
So then it makes you need to use more moisturizer because your skin's not self-balancing.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's basically keeping it super simple. But people
so
overdo it.
You can start by not drying your skin out in the first place.
Absolutely.
So it's really, I mean, it sounds like kind of like the name of the game is like dryness control or moisture control.
It really is. I mean, it's kind of, if you can keep your skin, I feel more clean, but more into like an acidic level, just slightly, your skin actually works a lot better. Or I shouldn't say your skin works better, but So
slightly acidic in the sense of like, obviously not, I mean, maybe you'll tell me, like maybe not acidic, or it's acidic enough to keep away like bacteria from even starting to flourish.
Absolutely. Yeah.
See, I'm just guessing, by the way.
No, you're absolutely on it. It's just basic science. It's basic, it's kind of common sense, I would say, if you really think about it.
Yeah. But you're still going to end up asking a professional when you're just like in this vicious cycle and you're like, God damn, like what is going to fix this?
Yeah. I have tons of clients, and this is the major concept. They come in and they say, I don't know what's wrong with my skin. It's really, it's acting up, but I'm doing all of these things for anti-aging and I don't want to age. And I'm looking at all of their products that they're using and I'm like, you're causing this. You're causing this inflammation.
A bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Well, you think inflammation, if your body is inflamed inside, you're causing damage. You're aging your body, right? Yep. You're doing the same thing to your skin. So I literally will pull them off of everything and start them on super basic. And have them do it for a couple weeks. And I say, your skin's not going to feel good for a while. Yeah. Just give it a break. Yep. And then, I just got a message from a client yesterday and she's like, my skin feels amazing. I'm not doing anything to it. I said, I told you.
Yeah. You're kind of like made,
like,
I mean, obviously like you could have natural, maybe you would call it an imbalance.
For their skin. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you could have it naturally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, which is then probably where it becomes extra like beneficial to get an expert's treatment.
Absolutely, yeah. And we do free skincare consults online. I don't, but my girls that work for me do. I charge for myself, but I mean they're all trained by me and exceptional. So definitely, I mean we offer that.
That's awesome. It's a cool like business, like taking care, like helping people take care of their skin. Like that's definitely something you need to know about it.
I love it.
You know what I mean? It's kind of cool to be like, nah, I'm definitely like an expert.
Yeah.
In this realm.
And you don't really think about it, I feel, until you get to like your 30s. And then you're like, I probably should be doing something now. You know?
Yeah. If there's anything I'm doing wrong, I probably don't wear enough sunscreen.
Yeah.
Just because I kind of have the like semi like olive skin, like I don't burn easy, and so I probably don't put on enough sunscreen.
Yeah.
And is there a good way to roll on that, by the way?
Actually, I'm going to go over sunscreen. That's huge. So I don't know if it's interesting to anybody but me. I'm totally interested in it. So if you go to the store and you buy sunscreen, don't do it. You need to make sure it's a UVA, UVB. UVA, so you think you're holding your phones, you're in front of the computer, you're doing all this work, right? UVA is from those lights.
Oh, wow.
So those are the worst possible aging factors. So UVB.
And you're just like getting bombarded with them.
Absolutely. UVB is the sun. So that's what burns you. So that's a totally different realm.
Easy to remember. Beep, burn.
Yeah. So UVA comes from, it comes from the sun as well, but mainly a lot of it is coming from your phones, your laptops, the lighting, all of that. And that actually is what causes a lot of damage to your skin and ages you because it changes your cells. Yeah, the functions of them. So UVA, UVB, and I prefer a titanium or a zinc.
Okay.
And it needs to be over 5%.
Like 5% zinc.
On either one.
Okay.
My sunscreen has 11%.
Okay.
But it's not that thick, goopy. You know, it's really nice to go on.
See that picture of like Mark Zuckerberg with like the like entire, he was like in Hawaii or something, and he had like a half an inch of zinc on his face.
That is insane.
And it's like,
but some sun is very good for you. You need the vitamin D.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like he got made fun of so much for it, and it was funny because like somebody asked him about it. He's like, I don't know, man. I just kind of like put it on and went surfing.
Yeah.
Well, he's surfing.
I'm like, bro, like you put it on.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
That's funny.
Yeah. So zinc, titanium, at least 5%.
Yeah. At least 5% and above.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
there's your knowledge for the day.
Yeah. So do you sell that kind of stuff?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
My skincare. So I have a skincare online. It's called V Skincare Line. Basic V. Virago. But I didn't want to say Virago because Virago stands for warlike woman.
Right.
So that's the last thing a man really wants to do is go buy a skincare product.
You're probably right. I mean, I would do it.
Yeah. So
sure, but.
V Skincare Line. I love it. It's women, men, and actually when the whole COVID thing hit, my clinics, of course, couldn't be open. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I need to think outside the box, Jen, and here comes that entrepreneur of us. So I just formulated super quick some home treatments, put them together in a kit and sold them. And they actually did phenomenal. So now I have home treatments online as well.
So you just did that earlier this year.
I did. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I mean,
so I'm
glad I did it.
You just ship them the product?
I do, with the description.
The little instructions.
And then instructions. And I actually went on YouTube and did instructional video. So it's linked to that too. So people can go on YouTube and check that out and actually get one-on-one instructions on how to do something.
It's so cool. I love entrepreneurs because they look out for other people.
Absolutely.
But it's like this like thing where it's like they acknowledge their talent, strength, ability to contribute, and they like actually do something about putting it out in the world. And there's like other people that are like eating it up. They're like, oh man, thank you, Jennifer. Like my skin is clear now.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's great that I make a living doing it. Totally. But it's like, I just like serve my purpose here.
Exactly. That's the thing is that with skincare, and I've always said that since I was little, if I didn't have to worry about money, I'd be doing this for free because I love it.
Right.
It, it's something that gets my goat. I can write blogs about it. It's.
You're into it.
I'm into it. It's just like fitness. Like it's something that I've always been into, health, nutrition, diet. I mean, that's just my thing.
And and it's so cool that we have all these different people who have all these different skill. Like,
it's amazing.
Can you imagine? Like, we have so many people that are in like good, like skincare, like that are good at skincare or good at accounting or good at whatever. And it's like that's some blue ocean stuff right there. Like, what do you need? Like, there's somebody that knows it. Like,
yes.
And when I first, like, for example, when I first joined Arte, it was like, I was explaining to my wife, I'm like, honey, like, you don't understand. Like, I found the group of people who all share, like, the outlook on life that, like, there's somebody out there that can help you. And, like, we've all managed to, like, find each other thanks to Andy and Ed.
Absolutely.
Like, thank God that they basically started the whole movement out of like core values.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like now you're attracting people and bringing them into a network of people who all share the same core values. More or less, we're all individuals, but like essentially.
Yeah.
Like the concept either speaks to you or it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can ask any business question, like, and there's somebody there that knows. Like,
exactly.
Maybe not the number one exact perfect answer, but something far damn better than not knowing it all.
Yeah.
Or some like random blog post that you don't know how to judge the validity of it. It's like, well, I can take his word for it. Like, he actually did it or she actually did it.
Well, and the thing too, like what I like with Arte is that you can trust these people.
Yeah.
And it's, for my business, there's a lot of things with marketing and strategies that I have no clue. Like, I'm educating myself on, but I know I don't want to waste 3 hours of my time. I'd rather give it to somebody else that, is exceptional at that. And their feedback and their help on everything, I mean, it's just phenomenal. Yeah. I get so much help. And, we didn't discuss, but, I am an owner of an electrical company as well. And they have helped out so much. For instance, my good friend Amanda, who's from the syndicate, she just reached out to me 2 days ago and called and said, hey, I have this guy. He's in Roseville. He's going to be doing all of this solar work. We thought of you. We're going to link you with this. And now here I have probably these jobs that are going to last us for 10 years, if not longer. Right. Just from making these connections with these people.
Yeah. And
being a good person and having a good business and a good ethic, she knows.
A group of people that believe in abundance so big, so big that you don't think twice to refer somebody 10 years worth of work.
Yes, absolutely.
You're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to talk to Jenn. Like, this will be good for them. And it's like, you're like, dude, this is a freaking massive contract.
Yeah.
And like you could not thank them enough.
Exactly.
And I'm not about that. It's not, but surely they understand the massive thing that they've done, but it's not like they're going to move on with their day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they have other big things to attend to as well.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love just being surrounded by people who are just
they
don't think twice about big things.
And it's honestly the people that in life you need to surround yourself with anyway. Those are the type of people, if anything happened, they would be there in a heartbeat. They would do anything for you. And, I just feel like in my life where I've become, and I'm sure where, you guys have become and are still going and growing, is the fact of surrounding yourself with those type of people.
Right.
Yeah. We've all been there and we've been around people and we know this isn't a great thing to be around and we learn from it. But now it's this group and creating this group has been phenomenal.
Yeah. So, okay. In terms of, what you've learned, in the past, let's just say 4 years from this network of people. So by the way, the value of this we're not here pitch in the RTA syndicate. No. But we are going to talk about it a lot because it's something unique and special. And, so I'd like to know, probably in the past 4 years of your life, what kind of valuable things that you've been able to implement that maybe you might not have run into on your own, or maybe even if not things you've learned, but things that have opened your eyes.
Honestly, I have felt. Let me take back the first when I got accepted into the RTA syndicate. We met in Coeur d'Alene. And we got on a boat and we were going to Ed's house.
Right.
That was our first event.
It's a beautiful lake house. Yeah.
And when I stepped on that boat and everybody was saying, oh, I own this and I do this and I have this. And I just thought to myself, okay, this isn't where I belong. This is not me. And then the next day we had our first syndicate and Dr. Joe Despinosa came in and spoke. Literally, it broke everybody down. Everybody was like, oh, shit. And from that moment on, it's been a whole different syndicate.
So what you're describing is a lot of people initially maybe had walls up, kind of
absolutely
posturing.
Absolutely.
I'm this, I'm that, I have this and that, and which obviously everybody's just doing because they're nervous.
Absolutely.
Based on other people.
Yes.
Or whatever, which happens.
Yes.
And then you guys had the speech of a lifetime.
Absolutely.
And everybody's like, none of that matters.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're all in the same boat. And it was, it was actually, I think,
literally,
the best,
figuratively.
Seriously, I think it was like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, the relationships that I got, I mean, I knew a lot about business just because, I haven't explained this before, but I've failed several times. Like I have claimed bankruptcy twice. I've learned hard lessons. And so those lessons I learned a lot about doing a business, because at age 24, I was throwing a business.
Right.
And nobody taught me how to run a business.
Right. It's just like bull in a china shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, but I think what I got from the Arate Syndicate was I definitely got business structure. But I got more or less the feeling that I am good enough. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, I do belong.
So particularly I find, and it might just be me, but I find that Ed is particularly good at being the leader who, by the way, people, if you follow Ed Milet,
oh, absolutely,
on Instagram or that's probably a great place.
I just got his book,
podcast, his book. Apparently.
Yeah, I just bought his book and gave it to all of my electrical team members.
Yeah, this dude is an amazing human. I mean, inside and out.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder he's so successful.
Yeah.
Right. It's just one of those people. And so where was I going with this? Oh, shit. Where was I going with this?
You guys were talking about like the support of the community and like learning
actually
business.
growing.
Yeah. And I was just going to say Ed particularly is very inspiring, and he's the leader who really can instill that genuine confidence in you in a way that's like, look, like, hello, like this is your shot, like meaning your life.
Yeah.
And he gets you fired up like crazy. And it's like, wow, yes. Like why can't I talk to myself like that regularly?
Yeah.
The podcast we just had with the previous guest, we were talking about how we get stuck in our self-talk that's derived from our past.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's a narrative that we live in. It went this way, it went that way. And it's like, well, that's not taking you anywhere. You're just recalling what happened.
Yeah.
Which you can extract some good things from that, but ultimately you're not in gear. You're still in park. Mm-hmm. You ain't moving.
Yeah. My last podcast that I talked about, that was one thing that I did talk about. And it's kind of like, there's days that you wake up and you think, I don't have it. I'm just not, it's that mind game. It's
almost a mood sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one thing I feel like with joining Arate is that I knew I could always do it, but I guess I never had the confidence in myself and to surround myself around these people. And I think to myself, you know what, Jen, you are one of those people. Mm-hmm. Like, stop it.
And it's a very specific kind of confidence. It's not like a arrogant, stubborn confidence as much as it is like a fullness of belief in yourself that
Absolutely.
You can do it.
Yeah.
It's very hard to split that hair.
Yes.
But it really means a big difference.
Yes.
Because when it's like deep down inside, you're like, no, I can really do this. The process might be gruesome, but when is it not going to be?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why if you ever look at a lot of my blogs or whatever I write, I always say own your own shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was the reason behind all of that, is because you know what? I'm gonna own it because I have baggage, I have issues. Mm-hmm. But if I can't let other people know that, and I can't grow from that and become a better person from that, other people look into that, and that's how they grow. So that's my duty as a person to say those things and say I have flaws and say I have issues, and because nobody's perfect.
Yeah,
it's like the choosing to be an influence in the world. Where it's like, what's something that I can contribute influentially?
Absolutely.
That it almost inevitably speaks to every human.
Yep.
And make sure to not miss the opportunity to help people like that.
Yeah.
By the way, sorry, I'm kind of backtracking, but
That's okay.
Do you remember what that speech was that you after you arrived at the first syndicate event that you went to? Do you remember what the talk was about?
With Dr. Joe?
Yeah.
So Dr. Joe, it was the second day. It was after we already went to Ed's house, and we came back and we met in the Coeur d'Alene place. And he broke it down pretty much about our mental and our past issues and how we reiterate things in our mind.
Okay, so it's exactly what we were talking about. Whoa.
Yeah. And so it was amazing how much it broke everybody down, and not down by a bad. I mean, even I remember watching Andy, and Andy's mouth was just like, his jaw was just dropped. Like,
well, it sounds like he gave everybody the tool to disarm themselves.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what what we all needed.
Wow.
You know, because
a lot of very successful people.
And if you get that, I mean, that's what you get sometimes until people actually open up and they're actually natural people. I mean, people are defensive and they think people are going to attack them. And the one thing that I got from being in the Arte, and especially in that beginning, is the fact that, like I said, I'm going to own my own shit. I'm going to be who I am.
I'm here.
You know what I mean?
I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
I was granted. I'm here legitimately.
Yeah. And I'm not afraid to say, hey, yeah, I failed. I've claimed bankruptcy. I've had 2 divorces in my life.
Yeah.
Do you, without that, I wouldn't be who I am right now.
Right.
And each person that is successful, they have been through that over and over again to get to the point of being successful. It's not like you look up to somebody and you think that they're fabulous and you want to be like them and think that you have to live up to those standards, because those people have been through so much shit to get where they are.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what Dr. Joe really pulled out of all of us that day.
Yeah.
I mean, it was it was a phenomenal day.
It's a really important lesson, and we just talked about it with Steve. How we're talking about looking up to people is okay. Being inspired by them is okay.
Yeah.
But trying to be them is not okay.
No.
Like, you got to know why you're inspired by them, and then implement that if you want to.
Absolutely.
But to be like, oh man, if I could just be that person, like, it's like, God, that's unhealthy.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. And honestly, I think that's everything. Yeah.
I mean,
sorry, I stalled out.
No, that's okay. And that's why, I'll go back, to the podcast. So my podcast is called What the Fuck is Beauty Anyway?
Right.
And the reason why I created that is because, like, we talked about all the BS that's out there about skincare and what you should be doing. And I've kind of altered the podcast now that I feel like I'm maturing a little bit more. So it's more open now to business, going over social media things, skincare. It's going over a realm of things, and it's just what I love and what I enjoy.
Right.
But it's all based upon that, is the fact of just being yourself and being authentic. And, for some reason, I had this guy that I just mentored not too long ago. And he has a phenomenal product, but he's so scared about being himself on social media, and he's so scared about going live and talking. And I'm like, well, that's how people gravitate towards you. That's how those people trust you, and they want to interact with you. That you're giving them the gift of your knowledge, not that you're selling them something, but you have that God-given gift that you need and to tell people, because if you don't, you're disharming yourself plus the people around you.
People like supporting people.
Yes.
Yep.
People tend to not as much like supporting something that's not a person, like the proverbial corporation.
Yeah.
It's like they don't feel like they're like helping the world by buying from like
Amazon
or Target or whatever. It's like this is like
Yeah.
this big organization that exists and could have a totally different set of people that makes it.
Absolutely.
So they don't. But like when they're like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna buy Jennifer's sunscreen. I kind of think of the word sunscreen for a second. Her sunscreen or product. Like, they're like, Jennifer's badass. Like, I could either buy hers or something on the internet somewhere, on Amazon. It's like you could be supporting a person and doing that too, but it's like, I think people find something special and being like, no, I buy hers, I buy his.
Yeah. And it was really cool. Like, I got a message on my Facebook from one of the RTA syndicate members that we've been doing business for. And I guess somebody asked about like a beard balm and shave gel and all this stuff. And so he posted my name, like, check her out. And
it was like in the group.
It was in the group.
In the Facebook group.
Yeah. And he said, Jenn has a skincare line. She's been an esthetician for, 21 years. She's an RTA member, but she is like badass.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, that made me feel good because it was it was not necessarily that I just own a skincare line, or I know it was because you're a good person and you're doing, you know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm. It's a personal relationship.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, here's things.
Yeah.
It's like, no, here's me.
Exactly.
And I want to help you, and there's so much more power, and it's just a better way to do business.
Absolutely. And that's how it should be. And it's just like, for instance, we were talking about the coffee shop before I came here, right?
Mm-hmm. I talked about how awesome the owners are.
Yeah. And when we were driving, Kevin was like, well, there's a Starbucks here. And I was like, no, we're going to go to, the Missions Coffee or whatever it is. I said, I want to go there.
Yeah. And
so we went there, and, I was thrilled about it. And so when I got here and I told you, how badass they were, you explained why, they're called Missions Coffee and blah, 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 blah about it. And it was like, I'm glad I supported that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now I'm going to go and talk about that later on. Mm-hmm. And it's those type of things. And it's about doing business with people and growing that way. I'd rather go to a mom and pop shop. I would rather do those things than, support the corporations that are out there that really do not have our best interests at heart.
Yeah. And even if they do, look, there's two Starbucks across the street from each other right here in Auburn. In Auburn. And there's more Starbucks than that.
And I'm a Pete's girl, so there's no Pete's anywhere.
That's just in this half of Auburn. There's two right across the highway. And so it's like, man, it's like, and then you have Missions Coffee. You know? So I really appreciate that. I always applaud that.
I think it's great. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's very cool. Cool. So let's talk about a little bit how you're involved with the electrical company, Roseville Rocklin-Roseville Electric.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Why not? So you guys, I'm assuming you just do full electrical contracting, commercial.
So we do everything.
Okay.
Kevin, my other half, he's been doing this for about 15 years. And so when we got together, he asked if I wanted to step in like a day a week and help him out with things. So we literally started with the company. Well, he started with the company working in his apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so he grew to about 3 people when I joined on. And so, I had my plate full. So we grew it together a little bit, but I definitely was running a couple other businesses, so I couldn't be there full time. And then we just kept growing it slowly and slowly. And when we joined the RTA, that's when it really hit big. And it was funny because Kevin from the RTA, who I just adore, not my Kevin, but another Kevin. Mm-hmm. And it was so funny. I thought he was a plastic surgeon when I met him. So I was like, oh my God, you're the plastic surgeon. Let's talk. Da, 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 da. And he looked at me and he was like, I wish I had a good job like that. That would be totally interesting.
Right.
Well, come to find out, he's not. He's like a guy who deals with all of the construction side.
Right.
So I totally hit that off with a great relationship with him. And we started talking a lot. And he really linked us up with some great people and expanded our business.
Yeah. And your network is so important.
Absolutely.
I think about it. I've explained this before, kind of like back in like the Middle Ages or whatever, kings would have like their empire, their kingdom.
Yeah.
And it was like land acquisition was like the power game, right? And I kind of feel like now the modern equivalent of like land acquisition is network acquisition. And so like before, because when you acquired land, you probably also acquired peasants.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. And like human, like people human people,
people
that like work for it.
Yeah.
But now it's like you acquire a new network or whatever, a new group of people, or even one person who continually introduces you to more people. That's like your land acquisition.
Yep.
It's like who you know now is everything because our ability to connect is here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then with now, this is getting a little nerdy, but like with 5G coming, it's going to be really interesting because I think we're going to, like right now, you could still have a damn Zoom call and have it be like,
yes.
and you're like, I can't hear you. And you're like, oh, damn. What year is it? I think as our bandwidth like really gets wild with this 5G stuff, like you're going to be having like super high definition, like 4K Zoom calls in real time with like no lag. And I think we're just going to be able to communicate in a more natural way. Obviously virtually still, but just it's going to make it way more natural. I think we're just going to be getting stuff done. Like,
yeah. Well, like the call, were you on the last call with Arte?
Yeah.
When they were talking about the flying cars and things like that. That's going to be happening. I mean, that's going to be freaking badass. Can you imagine? Like anybody can come and get their skin done anywhere now.
Yeah. The idea, the idea is like, what do you call it? A spaceless economy?
Yeah.
Where it's like your restaurant maybe has like a 10 or 20 mile footprint at best.
Right.
And it's going to be like hundreds of miles now.
Yeah. So I guess I don't have to get my flight license now, right?
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out.
Because I've been flying. It's pretty dope.
So like Uber's going to show up like
seriously,
like piloted thing.
I don't know. Will the state of California allow Uber to fly around?
State of California doesn't allow anything.
Seriously.
Holy shit.
That's why I'm getting my PPP because I'm like, I'm out. I'm just gonna hop on a plane and go.
There you go.
So many people are leaving. My father-in-law owns a moving company here in town.
Oh yeah.
And
they're booked solid.
Yeah. What is it? Mid-October. Usually their like busy season is slowing down around.
Yeah.
Now, and they're like, we're still so booked.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
People are done.
Yeah, and they're like half of the people or whatever it is.
I would be done too
like
if I didn't have businesses.
A significant portion of the people who are keeping them busy still are all just Idaho, Texas, Arizona. And I almost left the state last year, and then I worked out a deal with my dad. I bought his house, but like other than that, like I wouldn't have been able, in the position I'm in. Like I'm not even 30 yet. I got 4 kids. Like I'm in the beginning of my career.
Yes.
I can't buy a $600,000 house that you could buy in Idaho for $230.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And so we had a real estate agent and everything, and my dad was like, I don't really want to see you guys go. So we worked it out, but yeah, man, it's I'm at least thankful for my resilience to be like, I'm gonna stay here as long as I can, because like I don't condemn people for I'm like, look, if that's what's right for you, totally do it. But at the same time, like I have reasons to stay here, especially because it's like, well, you're building like this local brand and ecosystem and everything, and it's like I really believe that this is a good thing, so therefore I'm gonna stick through the shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think it's gonna get better.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I do. But no, we're in the same boat. I mean, all my businesses are here. We are looking to go outside. We just got our Arizona license. We're trying to get our Utah license right now. For electrical.
Yeah.
So then that way, we can definitely, move out of here and we can still do business in the state of California, but so
you're not restricting yourself to only having to live here.
Exactly.
Like, honestly, with Emperor Newsom, you never know. Like,
I love it. I'm gonna start calling him that. I didn't even think of that.
It's so bad, dude.
Oh man.
I don't get it. Anyway, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yep.
How long have you been doing your own podcast?
Oh gosh, good question.
Sounds like quite a while.
Quite a while now.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because I started it. I don't know if it's been quite a year, but almost about a year. And it's evolved. It's starting off. I'm sure it's like, I think I've been doing it for that long, and I still only have like 5 reviews. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I haven't even started asking for reviews.
Yeah, I probably should be doing that. But I know a lot of people, listen to it, and even people, comment to me. So I know people, are gravitating towards it.
Yeah.
And that's why I kind of changed it up. So it's not strictly just beauty now.
Right.
I talk a little bit more about other things as well, because I do get a lot of people asking questions, about business or social media.
Right, because they know your background a little bit.
Yeah.
And so they know you're not, like, taking care of skin is not your only skill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's naturally going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like somebody could ask like Andy something about fitness or business.
Yeah.
And you're going to get like equally good answers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
His story's crazy too.
Andy?
Yeah. Just like his level of success versus like, what do they call it? It's like the underdog story almost,
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah.
He's like, I didn't make money for years.
Yeah.
You know? And you're like, wait, first Phorm? Like, damn.
Yeah. And that's how it starts. Well, you think of it, like our RTA member, Brian Nababi. Like, if you think of Brian, you think to yourself, okay, it's a clothing line. Mm-hmm. Do you know how hard it is to build a clothing line to be profitable?
Right.
It's the same thing with, a nutrition company.
She's talking about Till You Collapse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing even with skincare. Like, I was looking at trying to do some advertising online for skincare. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be no way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The
You're going to
prices
go broke
for that industry. Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the only way to do it is to just market what I have been doing, which is, really getting involved, getting in Facebook groups, getting, letting people know about who you are. And that's, I know this is off the subject, but I do a little bit of coaching for things like that. And it's mainly just to teach people kind of where to start with that whole realm, because people get intimidated.
Are you into like the documenting versus creating process of like content creation?
I'm such a creator.
Yeah. So like you personally like to kind of like formulate a message.
I do.
Yeah.
You know who Ryan Stuman is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's called the Break Free Academy, and I joined them back in January.
Mm-hmm. This year? Yeah.
And so being with him, I've learned a lot about marketing and a lot about branding yourself.
Mm-hmm. His podcast is funny. His personality.
He's
a spitfire.
So funny. Yeah.
He's like this dude, like he's like he's the grown-up version of like the kid on the playground that you like don't want to like get too close to because like he's loud and obnoxious, and you're like, oh god, I don't want to be associated with that. But it's like it's so effective. Yeah. The boldness.
Yeah. But I have to say, like, it's super funny. I sent him a message. So my one girlfriend, Francesca from the Arte, sent me to Ryan Stuman. She's like, you have to go here. He's going to totally help you with your business, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, great. So I reached out to him, and I was hesitant to sign up. And I told him this after the fact. I was already in the Break Free Academy for a couple months.
Right.
I reached out to him, and I said, hey, bro, I just want to tell you that I was really hesitant about joining because I thought you're an absolute dick. And
he's like, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he started
exactly
laughing.
What I want to hear.
Yeah, he started laughing, and I was like, well, just your persona is like kind of an ass. And so I didn't know if we would mesh well, but he's totally not that way.
He does this funny thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to his show?
No, I
need to check
it's called
it
out. the Hardcore Closer podcast, and he abbreviates it. It's like THC, so which is really funny. But then like he, you know how podcasters will read their reviewers' reviews just to like incentivize listeners to leave reviews. Yeah. He'll do it, but he'll like pick out the ones where people are just like trashing his show.
Yeah. So funny.
It's just like the perfect way to you neutralize, diffuse. You'd be like, look, that you can't hurt me, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I love that. I mean, it's not the way I roll personally, but like I just kind of ignore stuff like that. Like, well, that's not constructive. But he totally just like crams it into the machine and makes it work. You're like, wow, you burned that one too.
Yeah.
Like you used that as fuel, man. Like you're throwing everything in the furnace.
It's so funny, but it's true. It's like I just did, okay, so I'm selling like this eyebrow kit online, right? So my e-commerce girl's like, okay, we're going to shoot this out and you get to see what people comment back, right?
Right.
And so my comment back was, or not mine, but this lady, she said, holy fillers, look at her lips. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, I haven't had fillers in 2 years. That's not really nice.
And by the way, we're talking about eyebrows, not my lips, you dick. Like, way to freaking personally attack me for no reason.
Yeah, and then the other comment on there was like, her face doesn't even move. And I'm thinking, you guys are asses. Like,
yeah.
That's such a that's like somebody like me doing any, like they could be watching my shit, like the podcast on YouTube, and literally just be like, that dude is so skinny, does he eat anything?
Yeah.
Or like whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong a little bit, but what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like,
yeah, I love it.
Like
you
people,
just have to take it for a grain of salt.
Yeah.
It's funny that like people will take their time to do that.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, so I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll get really mad at like Windows, like you communist bastards with your like forced updates or whatever.
Yes.
Like, but that's like actually having a reason to be mad, like something legitimately pissed you off.
Yeah.
Besides just like watching somebody do something, it's like their own business, and you're just like, you suck.
It's like what?
Like you suck.
Seriously.
It's so out of the blue.
That's all right. I can't even imagine what like Andy and Ed and all them get on a daily basis. Like it would,
Yeah, I'm sure.
it has to be intense.
Well, they don't even get to all the normal good messages, or
No.
They're like,
no.
like, what do you expect? Like, I got 4 million followers.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's true.
Like I get 1,000 a day. Like I get 1,000 by noon every day.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine.
I wonder if like you would think that would be cool if like Instagram had a feature where like if you have like over 1 million followers, you have like a way, like AI have
That's a
it
good
to like
idea.
filter the bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
they're
to
gonna
be
steal
able
that.
to
That's my idea.
select. Yeah. Or to be able to select like the people that you want to hear from. Because honestly, I know like if I put a post up, sometimes I won't even see certain people that I would want to see that like it or comment or do whatever. I have to go back and try to read through them. It would be nice.
Well, Facebook makes it's like weirdly difficult to manage your page.
Yes.
On Facebook. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks that, but I'm like, why do I have to dig so far, like so many clicks just to like get to my page, and then you get there and you're like, okay, now the inbox.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, that was a journey.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to
is
manage
hard.
your page. I don't blame people for not wanting to really go in hard on that. And then also, I don't really blame them for thinking that hiring somebody to do it for them, there was like going to be no return on the value. Because like in their mind, they're like, oh, this is just this like complicated thing. It's just a waste of time.
But it's not actually.
It's not. It's a huge opportunity.
It's a huge opportunity.
So I always admire like the people who are not quote unquote, let's call them like Facebook experts or Instagram experts, but they do a knockdown job at it. It's like, wow, you like kind of just intuitively figured out how to hustle this,
Yeah.
The internet is a big place, and I think about it as like a city, so if like you were to imagine like all these buildings, and like each building is like a website or a resource, and some buildings are just meant to go in and learn about American history. That's what you go into that one for. And then some you go into and whatever, it's like YouTube, it's like this like giant library of like individually created content. And then there's like this mass, and then there's like platforms like Facebook where you're like, well, every human has like a profile inside that building, and there's like a whole economy inside that building.
It's amazing.
And so people will actually like not have a website or not have any other infrastructure on the internet other than like their Facebook profile and like their Instagram, and they'll be like hustling a business off of it.
They will.
And it's really impressive because that's I think it's kind of probably more of a natural skill, but definitely one you can learn.
Yeah.
It's just going to be hard if you're like the person you mentioned doesn't want to be on camera or recorded or whatever.
Oh yeah.
it's like, but then there's other people who don't know anything about the tech end of it really, and don't even really understand the vast opportunity that it is, but they're at least tuned in enough to like get on there every day. Like, it's funny. I noticed this with ladies who do hair, salon gals who do hair. Like, they're like really good at showing their work. Like, every time they do somebody's hair, they like take a beautiful picture and toss it up and tag the person. And then like, it's like a formula that works really well. It's like, who else is in their work documenting everything they do and showing off all their good work? Like, that's like inherently the best way to get business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
it's free.
Absolutely. That's what people need to utilize. I mean, that's definitely, that's the way to go, and to trust people, or not trust people, but people start to trust you because they see your work and they see what you're doing, and then they start. You build that relationship with that person, and then you get the referral basis on top of it. So
yeah. You probably get a lot of referrals in the skincare world.
I mean, that's really how I started. Yeah. I don't do any advertising.
At this point, when you think about, the way your treatments work.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like your skin's looking great. It's like, Jennifer.
Yeah. I mean, I have people come in. It's so funny. We have a relationship, and they'll go, "What are you doing to my skin today?" And I looked at them, I said, "Who cares? Just lay in my bed and let me do what I'm going to do." And they're like, "All right, Jen." It's shut up and sit down and
let me make your skin better.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How far are we? Were you like an hour?
Yeah, we're like an hour 5.
Oh, wow. That went by fast.
I know. We'll have to get you on again, too. At some point in time.
Well, I'm looking at, I know we didn't talk too much, but I'm waiting for, the whole COVID thing to go. But I'm going to start competing again probably next year. So I'll start all of that.
Are you talking about bodybuilding?
Yeah, I'm a pro athlete. So.
Hell yeah. Okay. So how does that tie into the first one? I think we can talk about that a little bit.
So I got my pro card. It's been about, I think, 6 years. And after I got my pro card, Phorm actually reached out to me about being a Legionnaire. And then it's
like the bodybuilding industry's version of an influencer.
Exactly. Cool. And then that's how it started. And it's funny. Emily and I became friends because she posted something on social media and I commented on it, and I said, "I don't agree with you on that."
Oh, yeah.
And so she commented back at me, and we didn't argue at all, but we definitely went back and forth about our thoughts. And then she friended me.
Oh, nice.
And then they called me and asked me to fly in for education, and she was so excited to meet me.
I'm just curious, do you remember what platform it was that you were having that
It was
discussion?
Instagram.
Wow. It's such a Instagram is not conducive to good conversation.
Yeah. No, we were great. It was great conversation. I didn't agree with her.
Were you like DMing?
Yeah. No, we did it on the live, and then afterwards she DM'd me.
Yeah.
And then, or not live, but the messages back and forth. And then, so that's how our friendship started. And that was back 5 or 6 years ago when I first started with them.
I think we should think about that for a second and be like, Emily's like foresight and like wisdom into like, hey, instead of just leaving this as like some random internet disagreement.
Yeah, no, we totally had a great conversation about it.
Yeah, let's first of all, let's actually connect, like whatever, be friends on Instagram, and I love that.
Yeah.
Instead of just like letting it like diffuse itself, like let's turn it into fuel.
Yeah, it was great. And so it's funny, her and I, that's how we became really good friends.
That's pretty awesome.
So,
that's good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stories there. I think everybody should follow you on Instagram.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. What's your we'll put your handle up, but you can just say it.
It's Jenn Carrasco _ 2 underscores. So it's JENNCARRASCO. Yeah, long ass name. 2 underscores. Yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, we'll have you send us all your links. And,
I will.
And when we post your episode, we'll put all the links and the description and all that. So
I had a great time. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thanks for coming out. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Blam. All right, let's do it. Have a good weekend.